Ding, ding.
Welcome to the Tom Bernard Show with
co-host Catherine Brandt,
Alex Bernard Rasmussen,
Andy Brant Bernard,
and Kristyn Burtt.
all of that stuff, ladies and gentlemen, delivered right to your door. We like it.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, it was kind
Right
of a
to your
weird
ears.
weekend. What's that?
right to your ears.
right?
Right to your ears. There you go. So what is going on in Minnesota? Anything good?
Minnesota, nothing.
Nobody's
particular.
answer.
Well, I don't live in Minnesota, so I can't answer that.
I mean,
Well,
but
I mean,
it's
don't
like,
look at me.
What's going on in Florida? Like, I don't know. It's
Lots
like,
of stuff.
there's
Lots of
nothing-
stuff going on
You
down
just
here.
left Minnesota. You
Yeah,
should
we
have.
just left Minnesota. That's
Yeah.
why it's on his mind. We spent the weekend up in Minnesota
Yep, it was
because
wonderful.
Ethan's fourth
Yep.
birthday party occurred
Yep.
yesterday, and then
Sure
we
did.
flew home last night and got in really late.
1
And it's so
o'clock.
funny. We park at a park and ride, and so we're on there, and this couple, they're like, "You just came back from Minnesota? How much snow is on the ground? How cold is it? How do you live up there?"
It's true.
And then it's like, one day I want to see snow. I've never seen snow.
A lot of people have never seen snow.
Crazy.
But I don't think I could deal with the. She makes these shoveling. I don't think I could deal with the shoveling. I'm just like, so
Yep.
she's
That's
seen
how
it
I
on
she
shovel.
was doing
Yeah.
the
the
movie.
shoveling,
I know.
yeah,
I
she
was like,
was.
we could tell you have never
And Home
shoveled
Alone.
snow.
Yeah.
He's that weird guy with the salt.
Well, if you think about it, anyone who lives within a couple hundred miles of the equator has never seen snow in their lives unless they've traveled.
Yep.
Well, and people just seem to think that Minnesota is like the Arctic
Yeah,
Circle.
always
Yes.
snowing. Yeah.
Like when
They
I
really
was
do.
living in New York, they were like, "So there's just snow 365 days a year there?" I'm like, "No."
No.
It's actually a lot hotter here than it is in New
Significantly
York.
colder. Having lived in New England and
Yes,
New York and
it
then
is.
Minnesota, there is a chill in the air that is different from.
Well,
Yeah.
in the dead of winter, yes,
Right.
but then
Yes.
summer we get the hottest temperatures in the United
Yes.
We're
States.
very,
Like,
very warm up here.
very
People don't
mosquito-y.
realize- Yeah, people don't realize that it actually gets hot.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
really hot. It's not unusual to get at least a 100-degree day a year.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
This summer we had a lot
Horrible.
of over 100
Yeah.
degree days.
That
And
was
we had a
awful.
chilly summer, so it's been
Oh.
really
We took your heat.
bizarre for us. Yeah.
It is weird.
It is all true. Ladies and gentlemen, Kristyn Burtt Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Kristyn, just a couple of quick things that have changed my life over the weekend.
Oh dear.
No question
Well,
about it.
I don't even know these.
Change
Wow.
your
Yeah.
life.
What? What is
Catherine was with
All
them the whole
news.
time, and this is a breaking news.
The reason, I will give you the reason for this, because people have lost their minds. They
Oh
really,
Lord.
they have popped a bolt yet again.
Oh, we've all known this.
Mom and I are getting off the airplane in Fort Lauderdale.
That's 11:50 p.m.
11:50 p.m. and the second guy in line, so there's one more person in line in front of him, he's the closest to the exit, starts very loudly railing on Donald Trump, how much he hates
God.
him. I couldn't believe, it was like, please don't do this now.
I literally went, "Boo! Get off the plane! I
Nobody
don't
wants
want
to
to
listen
hear
to
it."
it.
No.
Now is-
You can turn
Why?
on the TV to hear this. You can turn on social
Yes.
media
I
to
don't
hear
know.
this. We
Yes.
need a break.
I know.
need to
I was
I
just
agree.
like, "Why are you?" I said, "Why are you doing this on a flight? Stop!"
On a
Just
flight to
stop.
Florida, nonetheless.
So there's, big mistake. That was a big mistake.
Well, and it's just
Yeah.
no. Why do we have to hear it? We don't need your
I know.
opinions about everything everywhere you go. You're not that important.
He can go and tweet it out to his like fans of 4. I mean, like
Yeah.
nobody cares.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just
No one
screaming
cares.
about how horrible Donald Trump is. It's like, oh, just give it a break.
We're trying to
My
get off the plane,
God.
pal. We're trying to get off the plane. Would you shut
wanna
up?
go
Go
home.
away.
So-
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We really want to go home.
So this guy's chanting about how much he hates Donald Trump and Donald Trump is evil, blah, blah, blah. About 8 guys behind him, there's a young man who goes, "Sir, this is Florida. Shut the F up. We don't want to hear it.
I know.
Be quiet."
You should have seen the poor little flight attendant. She was panicking big time. She's like, "Do I have to call security? Is there going to be a
Oh,
fist fight?"
Lord.
Well, you see that. Like, you do
Yeah.
see those people
Yeah.
that have meltdowns on planes about
Yep.
weird political stuff, and then, you're stuck on the runway
Yeah.
while, you're
Exactly.
just waiting for law enforcement to take them off.
I
And
know.
sometimes everyone has to get off and then reboard because it can get really hectic. Or the flight crew times out all because of that one person.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
And if they time out, you're probably stuck there overnight at that point if it's an evening flight. It's frustrating.
Really?
One thing
Oh
that,
God, I'm glad that didn't happen. Well, at least he started complaining when we landed and we're
Yes,
getting off
that's
the
true,
airplane.
yeah,
At least he
yeah.
didn't start
Yeah.
when we boarded.
but
I feel like
I
those are the
but I was recruited to help him out because the guy who was arguing, the guy about 8 times back, he says, "This is Florida. We don't think that way here. We don't talk about this stuff.
it's best
Get
to
the heck,
just-
just shut up, will you?" And he turns around and looks at me and gives me the like, "You gonna back me up on this?"
No,
Oh my
we're
God.
not getting involved.
But I said, "Look, I understand. We don't need to hear this while we're exiting an airplane."
Well, and people that have political derangement problems, that's all they think about. The last thing they need is anybody encouraging them or discouraging them because it's just going to trigger them either way. So
And we're
just,
bombarded with political news on the
Yes,
daily.
yes,
It's
yes.
tiring. I'm
yes,
like, it is
every
Thanksgiving.
minute.
Let's talk about that. It's Christmas. Let's talk about that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I don't want to call anyone out or anything, but at Ethan's party, someone wore a political shirt, and I was like,
They
I
did.
didn't
Really?
even notice it.
No.
it was me.
I
Yeah,
didn't
it was
even,
Alex.
I
yeah,
really
we-
didn't even
Imagine
notice
I
it.
show
said-
up in a political shirt.
she wore an "I Just Like Ike" T-shirt.
I didn't even realize somebody wore
Yeah.
a political
I didn't even
shirt.
I
look,
was
yeah.
like, really at a child's birthday party?
That's annoying too, because that's also
Yeah.
disrespectful to the parents hosting
Sure is.
the
Yep.
party. Again, don't wear your.
just-
There's a time and a place for your political shirts, and that's at
Yep.
a political
Well, yeah.
event, and that's
well,
it.
just a lot of the T-shirts. It's like we were walking the dog the other day, and we saw some guy was wearing a T-shirt saying "classy as F"
Yeah.
Yep.
in great big letters. You know,
Great big
the
letters,
F Oppenheimer was huge. It was like,
Well, that's the
what?
whole point.
I know, but why do you do this? Why
It's
do you run
ironic,
around?
Mom.
Huh?
It's ironic.
Well,
Oh.
it's still kids can read. You know, it's just a lot of people
They can.
don't like that word. Yeah, it's just why do it? I don't
Yeah.
get it. Just because you can, I guess. I don't know.
suppose that's probably true. But ladies and gentlemen, could you just shut the hell up? We're just on a 4-hour flight, 4 hours, and this guy starts chirping about politics.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, shut up.
And there's been enough flight delays and flight situations
Oh, yeah.
over the last month, so don't
Yeah, we
make
didn't-
everyone's trip more miserable.
Yeah, we didn't have. We weren't canceled. Luckily, on
Yeah,
Thursday when we
yeah.
flew out, this one was on time. Our Thursday flight was late, but it
So,
wasn't bad. It wasn't
what-
bad for all the stuff that's going on.
What I have learned from it all is that I love Democrats and Republicans, and I hate Democrats and Republicans. Honest to God.
Why would I
Would
just
you-
hate politics? That's
Well,
where
there
I'm
you
at.
go. That's
It's
close
like,
enough. Yes, exactly.
Annoying.
I was amazed, though, that this guy, he didn't say a word while we were in the air. As soon as the plane landed, he starts chirping about how much he hates Donald Trump. And we're about maybe 1 mile from Donald Trump's house.
Well, if
Oh,
you're
no, we're in
annoying
Fort
enough in the
Lauderdale,
air,
never
you get
mind.
put on the no-fly list. So
Oh, I
he
suppose
probably,
that's true.
he probably was bottling it up. It's like a smoker getting on a plane. The first
Yeah.
thing they do when they
Yeah.
get off the plane is smoke.
Yeah.
People like that. Yeah. He
That's
He
couldn't
was
true.
hold it
smart
in.
enough with his timing, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had
that
it
no
bottled
fly.
up for 3.5 hours.
I know,
Had to
it's been
start
horrible for him.
spewing.
A plane of all places, look, that's what's so weird.
I
Like, okay, we
know.
landed. Now
I
I'm gonna go
agree.
on this crazy rant.
You know what I blame
Yep.
is that they have live news on the plane now. So
Yeah,
they're
they
watching their
do.
little "we hate
Yep.
everybody," everything's terrible, and it gets in their head.
Right.
For 3.5
Yeah, and I always
hours they're
find that
watching it.
weird at like doctor's office, nail salons when they have
Yeah.
a particular bias network, like know
Yeah.
that they lean one way or the other, and I'm
Right,
like, you're
right.
actually probably alienating 50% of your
Please
clientele.
just play
Mm-hmm.
HGTV.
yeah,
Everyone
My
kind of-
nail salon plays like weird drone footage of like Bali.
Oh yeah, I like that.
That'll work.
That's nice because you can just.
It's
all
ambiance.
yeah.
I'd like
There's
to go there someday.
They don't have. There's no sound. It's just
Good.
like this one TV in the corner that I never even look at. And sometimes I'm like, oh,
fine. That's fine.
there.
For
Yeah.
people that like to stare at something soothing is nice.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
Yes.
It's like what you.
Yes.
It's like what they have kids watch at the dentist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just
Just
something to
clouds
look at.
going by. Shh.
I have Kristyn recommended a Christmas movie to me, and I watched it over the weekend.
Oh, here we
which one
go.
was it?
Merry Little Xmas? Is it something about Xmas?
It's The very God, there's so many Xmas's. That's why.
None of you ever remember any title
Well,
of anything.
listen, all these Christmas movies are a variation of the same thing.
They
So,
are, and they all have the same title.
Yep.
Yes, I think it was called a
A Merry Little Xmas is what
Yeah,
it is.
that's
A
what
Merry
it
Little
is. There you go.
Xmas.
It had Alicia Silverstone
Because there
in it.
is
which
the Xmas as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, okay. It had Alicia Silverstone in it, which I didn't know when I started. I didn't know who was in it. And
Oh,
then
like ex-boyfriend?
Yeah.
X,
like
yes,
Oh,
your
okay.
X. It's
I
a
get it now.
play on, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was fantastic. It was like exactly the Christmas movie that
There you
I
go.
needed. It was fantastic. I was like, well, it had what's her face? Isn't the guy Kate Hudson's brother?
Oliver Hudson's in it.
Yeah, that's what he. Okay, Oliver Hudson.
Yeah.
I was like, I know these two people, and then what's her face?
Yeah, you know.
Oh my gosh, the girlfriend.
Why am I
Like
blanking?
Jamila Jamil.
Oh, Jamila Jamil.
Yeah.
Jamila Jamil. Really?
Yeah.
That's a name for you.
Anyway,
Moby.
she was in it, and yeah, everybody. It was Mom. You should
Melissa
watch it.
Joan
I think
Hart's
you-
in it for the.
Okay.
Yes, Melissa Joan Hart. I know. I just
Text me the
Yeah, you should-
title because I'll forget by the time.
Mom, you will like it.
she
Dad,
wants to
you
watch it.
don't like anything.
Well, it's
so
very like Hallmark sounding, so
It
What do you mean
is,
I
but
don't
it's,
like anything?
It's on Netflix for anyone who wants to see it, by the way. And just know that there's a lot of Xmas titles, so you need to, if you're searching for the title like later on today, make sure you like Google Alicia Silverstone because there's Merry Xmas, there's the Xmas, there. It gets very, very confusing, and all of these movies have come out over the last few years. But I do think that we need to see more of Alicia Silverstone. She's really delightful as an actress. So
He is delightful.
Who is she? She was Batgirl.
She
Clueless.
was Sharon Clueless. Yeah.
It's interesting. You go with Clueless, and I go with Batman and Robin.
Oh, yep. That
You
makes
know,
sense.
why not?
fits your
That makes
genre.
sense.
Yeah.
Moby Pete says Bad Mom Christmas is the best Christmas movie.
Well, that's a good
I have
one.
not seen that one either.
I haven't seen. I didn't like Bad Moms.
I
in
did not
general,
like Bad
so I don't
Moms.
know that I would like.
Don't tell
that
Melissa.
one.
She loves that movie.
Really?
I know you wouldn't think that would be her thing, but it is.
I
But
just
I mean,
was like,
it's cute. It's cute.
I don't know. I just thought everyone was annoying. I was like, okay.
They are, and I mean,
Well, yeah,
I find.
that's-
I was gonna say I find a couple of the actresses in that actual movie annoying in real life. So,
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
Mila Kunis, I find a little annoying, and then Kristen Bell. Now, I've interviewed Kristen Bell several times, and she is delightful. I actually went to NYU with her. She's super, super nice. I find like all the weird stories she and her husband release about their personal life just weird.
Yes.
It's like we don't bathe our kids really, and I don't know.
Oh.
Like there's just some like weird stuff, and I'm always like,
Yeah.
I don't need to know any of this.
Oh, yeah,
But
and he's
always-
right. It's not Alicia. It's Alicia.
Alicia.
I didn't know that, but I just looked it up, and yeah, it's Alicia Silverstone.
Silver, fancy.
Well, there you go. Gotta
Fancy,
get that right.
fancy. But yeah, and so yeah, I watched that over the weekend and I was like, yes, this is exactly right. And then I just started some other Christmas movie last night while folding laundry. I always do these while folding laundry.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Just
on the-
like a Christmas movie.
just like a Christmas.
Literally, that's the name.
So yes, it's called Just
Who's
Like
in
a
it?
Christmas Movie. It's like nobody I've ever heard of in my life.
Okay. And you're
I don't think
watching
it
it
even
on
has a Wikipedia
Netflix?
article.
It's on Netflix. Everything's on Netflix because that's all I really have.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's like this workaholic woman, of course.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't like Christmas. She's going to go to Bali over Christmas by herself because she's
nice.
estranged from her father and she's just going to work in Bali because that's what she does. And then she ends up having to do an emergency landing on her flight to Bali and gets stuck in this little town and falls and hits her head and she gets stuck in a Christmas movie. And she has to, Santa makes her embrace the Christmas spirit to be able to like get back home.
It's kind of creepy.
I'm halfway
It's
through
like
it.
Freddy Krueger, but
I
instead of
think
killing
I've
you, he forces you to like Christmas.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm halfway through it, and so far, it's great. It's like exactly
Huh.
I
what
think
you
I've
want
seen
out
that
of one of
one
these.
before. Like the premise is always like it sounds familiar. Have
I
seen
know,
it?
but they're all kind of the same.
They're
But
all
this
kinda
is I was like,
same.
this is a little different because she gets trapped in a Christmas movie, but nobody in the Christmas movie knows they're in a Christmas movie.
So it's like WandaVision?
Only she does.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I have to watch. This is part of my job today. I have to watch Lacey Chabert's She's Making a List this morning. So
Okay.
yes,
Report
so,
back.
I will report back on that. And that's a Hallmark December release, but I have an interview with her. She's another one I love. Always really good at interviews, good at being a Hallmark star, I always say.
I wonder
Nice.
if you added up all the run times of every one of those like Hallmarky Christmas movies. Like, how long could you marathon these for? It's got to be like a solid year.
Well, I can tell you because I've watched 18,000 screeners.
Yeah.
That my Christmas starts in August, so that usually by the time I
Yep.
reach December 1st, I'm done. But the movies at Hallmark are exactly 1 hour and 24 minutes because I get them without commercials. I get the screeners, obviously.
Right.
So I'm always like, oh, look at that, 124, which, Tom, honestly, is the perfect runtime for you.
It is. Yep. No
Why
doubt.
124?
Yeah.
Because they're factoring in all of the commercial breaks, so that's what it works out to.
Yep.
I feel like most of the Christmas movies lean heavily towards female viewership.
Yeah, absolutely.
They
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
They do.
so
Yeah,
don't know
I
if
can't
there's
think of a
anything
single
you would
one where it's like workaholic man goes to a town and finds a woman who loves Christmas kind of thing.
I-
The
And
Three
if there
Wise Men,
is-
the Three Wise
Yeah.
Men series on Hallmark does. The Three Wisest Men, which is the latest one.
Right. But
Okay.
even if that does happen, it's usually like still geared toward women somehow.
Well,
because
and there are
I
a
don't
lot
know.
of like family ones. What's the
there are, yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like I think that Lacey, what's her face, is
Chabert?
in these. They like move to a
Oh,
town.
Evergreen Lane.
Yes!
I love
Those are so cute.
Those are so cute.
Are we
Evergreen Lane.
excited?
Okay, so they did a Halloween one this year, Alex.
I know,
and they
and I didn't
named
get
it
to watch it because it's not on Netflix.
Ever Scream Lane. It was
I would've
really
loved to see
cute.
it.
And so
I
the
would've
characters got married,
Yeah.
Lacey and her fiance.
Yeah.
There's no Christmas movie this year with them because they did the Halloween one. But
Yeah, yeah.
I just said, I just was saying to her, I'm like, oh, are you going to be doing other holidays? She's like, well, the possibilities are endless. And since they do well for Hallmark, you never know, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Thanksgiving. I mean,
Yeah.
they can milk it for all it's worth with that series.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Ellen
Haul Out the
Travolta's
Holly.
in that, and that's good.
Yeah, Haul
Yeah.
Out the Holly. I think we watched that actually.
Haul Out the Holly.
That's the first
what it
one,
is.
yeah.
The
there's a
latest
couple of
one
them.
is Haul Out the Halloween. So the Haul Out series. And Moby Pete is just saying the Keller Christmas. Yeah, the Keller Christmas Vacation was really good with Jonathan Bennett. I interviewed him for that. A lot of good
a lot
ones.
of stuff I haven't heard of because I haven't been
It's-
watching Christmas movies.
We
It's just
didn't
like
at
the
all.
best because ever since, as you know, my favorite show, Great British Bake Off, ended. I'm like, I just need something that's sweet and happy
Some
and
wholesome.
wholesome, and I don't need to pay super close attention to it because I'm usually doing something else while I'm watching it or whatever, and I can watch it in 20-minute increments, and I'm like, I'm not super attached, so it's not keeping me
Who
up
are these
too
characters? Do I really care?
late. Yeah, I'm like last night I was halfway through this movie because I folded laundry, put Sage to bed, watched a little bit more, and then I was like, I'm tired. Good night at like 9:20, and I'll pick it up again later, and I won't really need to remember much of it.
Yeah.
I think it's actually fun to like turn on Hallmark movies, wrap your presents on the floor, and then have the
100%.
TV running in the background. There's something sweet about that.
Exactly.
Hallmark has cornered the market, and they do
Yeah.
it really well.
They do.
And I appreciate. I have to say, because I've done enough with Hallmark at this point, they treat their stars very well. They give them
that's good.
producing deals so that they stay in house. They'll give them like a
Wow.
4-picture deal over the year.
That is nice.
And then they also have, which I think is great, like mentoring workshops. So for actors who want to learn how to direct or how to start writing their own screenplays, they actually mentor them with screenwriters who've done well in the industry or a lot of their veteran directors, which I think is amazing.
That is really cool.
I remember one time we had an actor from one of the Hallmark or Lifetime,
Yeah.
made for. I didn't know he was listening to us, and I looked at the calendar and I said, "Oh, he's an actor for Lifetime or whatever it was." And I said, "I feel like so many of those movies are so cheesy." And I hear him say, "This one isn't." I'm like, "No, he heard me."
I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
Find out which one
But
that
they are.
was.
Oh, that is
mean-
so good. I want to know who it is because a lot of people stay in house for, they've been stars on Hallmark for a decade or more.
Yeah.
And they do a Hallmark Christmas cruise. They do 2 weeks.
Jeez.
And they kill it. They sell out a year in advance. They're already selling the 2026 cruise, and it might already be sold out for all I know, but people just eat it up.
Huh. I think it's crazy. I watched Crazy Rich Asians on the plane because
just
you
like we
said,
said.
Oh, yeah,
you said people, and I'm like, I have forgotten about 90% of that movie. I forgot all about.
I don't remember any of it, honestly.
Evil, the mean mom and the.
It's a good movie.
Not genetic testing, but the big reveal. I forgot all about all that stuff.
And
it's
the
a great
wedding,
movie.
and
Yeah,
it's just pretty.
The
It makes
woman
you
that
wanna
plays
go.
her friend. Oh my God, she's such a great character. The one that lives in
Aquafina?
Aquafina.
Oh, yeah,
is-
Aquafina.
Yeah, she was hilarious. I liked
She is
her.
funny.
It's like bring her in more.
She's a great voice actress. She does a lot of
Yeah, I bet she
voice
does. She's got
acting.
that.
She does almost entirely voice
kids.
acting at this
yeah,
point.
now she does. Yeah, she was in a lot of stuff for a while, and now she does mostly voice acting.
Yeah.
But you
She-
can always
I've
tell
interviewed
when it's
her. Have you interviewed her before, Tom? Aquafina? She's funny.
I don't think so. Maybe, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I really like her
Yeah.
character. It was great.
I on the plane last night watched the inside of my eyebrow. What are
Eyelids?
Eyelids?
my eyelids? Yes.
Oh,
there
you did
go.
eyelid theater?
I did
Yeah.
eyelid theater for
Yeah,
3
he
hours.
passed
I
out
wish I
for
could
quite
do
some
that.
time. I know. He
I
can sleep
can't
sitting
usually.
up. It's amazing.
Well, that's
I've never
good.
been able to do that.
I get to my window and I curl up in a little ball and
Mm-hmm.
I fall asleep on the runway. I'm one of those annoying people.
Just instantly out.
The second we move, I'm like,
Really?
it's like
Yeah.
narcolepsy right
Like a
off the bat.
baby?
Like
nice.
my mom said I would not sleep, and so she used to just strap me into my car seat and drive
Oh,
around the block, and
yep.
she'd be like, "You'd be snoozing."
There's a lot of those.
Yep. Yeah, I have a friend that I took a road trip with her once, and I was like, I will never take a road trip with you again because she slept the whole time. She's like, I just can't stay awake. I'm so sorry. I'm like, what is wrong with
Well,
you?
that's the thing. It's like when I'm in a plane, I get really, really tired between the dry air and the droning and not being able to move. I just want to go into a coma, but I just can't fall asleep. It's so uncomfortable.
No, it's very uncomfortable for me. It's not nice when you're teensy weensy like Kristyn. And you
That's
can
the thing
curl
is,
up into a
yeah.
ball. I'm
Curl
always
up
like,
into
I
a
have no
ball.
place for my legs or my
Yeah.
elbows.
I know.
There's no room.
Yeah.
And honestly, we know I'm 5'3". I say this all the time. I'm like, I'm 5'3", but even at 5'3", I feel uncomfortable. So I feel for all of you that are even 2 inches taller than me, and
can
I
be
don't
misery.
understand how. This is my thing, and I asked this one day under like a airplane experts. Comment. He was just talking about all these new planes and some of the designs, and they sit there and they're getting
smaller.
closer and closer in
Yeah.
terms of economy. And I'm like, we have not, or the FAA has not done a in-depth type of investigation as to whether if there was, God forbid, a plane crash, if you can get out of those seats in
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
it
wouldn't be
hasn't
able
been
to.
done since they were much wider apart, and I think about that because
Yeah.
it's possible that people are going to unfortunately not live because of that.
I guess we can't even complain compared to the Asian airlines. Apparently, they are so packed in. It's
Yeah,
like
they are.
sardines.
I
Yep,
can't
they
even
are.
imagine that. 'Cause
Well,
they
have
only
you
give
seen the? Let me
They're smaller people.
pull up
They
a picture of this quick. The standing airplane seats.
These are the ones that also
God.
make me like sweat.
Yep. Let's
You
see.
just stand?
Yeah,
It's
Well,
like
it's like a lean.
Yeah, yeah. You lean on your butt has like
What?
the It's
Why would you do
I'm
that?
not
there
doing
they
it.
are.
They just
All
want to.
right. I'm going to present them here. Standing on the airplane seats. There we are. There they are.
Why-
Oh God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like a saddle. The thing with the red
Yeah.
thing. It's like a saddle that you just
Super
kind of.
uncomfortable.
Dangle
But look at
on?
how
Like,
close
what?
they are.
Yeah.
And my thought is, you're supposed to be able to get out. It's 90 seconds. 90
Yeah.
seconds from impact to getting out the door. And I'm like, you cannot get out in 90 seconds. We
No.
can't get out in 90
Yep.
seconds when we land because
No.
everyone's like, I gotta get my bag.
Right.
And
Right.
I gotta stand up and block the aisle.
Complaining
Andy,
about
can you also
Trump.
pull up the 2-tier ones? Like you're in coach.
Oh,
but
yeah,
there's
I
a
know what you
bottom and
mean.
a top.
The laying down airplane seats or whatever.
Not laying down. They're just like a 2-tier, like in economy, where basically someone's going to fart
yeah,
in your
yeah.
face.
I know what you mean.
dear.
Let's see if I can find them. Yeah, here we go. Here's a good example. Let's see. I like the article, Why You'll Never Fly in an Airplane with Those Double-Decker Seats. Well, it's good to know.
Well, see.
Let's see. Double-decker seats. Let's find a good picture. That's a good picture. Right there.
Oh God.
So yeah, they're like
So
Yeah,
you're
their
sitting there.
butt's right in your face.
serrated or whatever you want to call it. Can I?
You're
Oh yeah, here we go.
So you're
underneath.
staring at, if you're on the lower level, you're staring
Yeah,
just
you're-
at the back of a seat.
And it's
Yeah.
very close. Can you?
Oh, I
see-
couldn't
Yeah,
do
but
that.
that's
Yeah,
their
like-
butt.
Way too claustrophobic for me. I couldn't
Yep.
take
I
it.
would die.
I could
honestly.
maybe sit on the top part, but not the bottom.
No, there's
I'd
no
probably
other
have an
option.
anxiety attack. I think, to be
Well-
honest, if I was on the
That would be
bottom.
horrible.
I always said, I said, what they're going to do is they're just going to make us all strip down naked. They're going to gas us and have us standing straight up next to each other so they don't have to go through security. You're not going to be allowed to bring anything on board. And then they'll revive us when we land. Then they'll make so much money. They'll be so happy that they can finally do it.
That's when I'll turn into a Minnesota dad and we'll just road trip everywhere.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
There you
We're
go.
driving.
get
Get in
it.
the car, kids. We got a 20-hour trip ahead of
Yeah,
us.
we're
And I'll be
taking the-
passed out for 20 hours.
Yeah, we'll
One
take a
thing
train or a boat or something. I don't care.
One thing I did notice about the flight last night, Mom and I were sitting there, and I would say at least 10 to 12 men who got on that plane only had about 2 inches above their head walking.
Yeah.
there. Holy
I don't doubt
God,
it.
people are getting tall.
They don't even have room underneath the seats for your bag
No,
anymore.
they
It's so
don't.
short. Like
No.
you can't
Yeah.
really put anything in there.
Or you have like the electric box or whatever it is, like
Yeah.
that takes
Yeah.
up part of your
Yep.
Yeah.
leg room. That's annoying.
Yeah.
Well,
you're
when we
supposed
flew
to have
down
space.
2 years ago with the pets, we had to seek out a specific model of plane because the normal, like the 747 or
Yeah.
whatever, there
Oh, yeah, you
isn't
can't
enough room
fit
under there to
the-
fit
yeah.
a pet.
Yeah,
So we
they
had
all-
to find like an Airbus A320 or whatever it was.
Yeah, for some reason they've made the seats much lower to the ground than they
Yep.
used to be. They used to be a little higher. I guess they've just made all the airplanes smaller. It's more streamlined or something.
But on the positive side, my third trip on an airplane in a row, they forgot to make a meal for me. 3 in a row now. And I don't know why me specifically, but this woman we had handling the...
I had, yeah, it's because I think I used the companion ticket, which, by the way, I looked at the receipt and they did not apply it.
No.
Oh,
So now I'm in a fight with Delta. I'm like, when things are checked on your app and you save it, you don't really save anything.
No.
Is that what I'm hearing here? And she said, well, no, but you never checked the companion ticket. I'm like, I flippin' did so. I searched and searched for a flight that I could use this companion ticket for. Because it expires, and I've never been able to use a companion ticket before. They usually just go in the garbage because there's no flights available for
Yeah.
companion tickets.
So then, did you purchase 2 seats accidentally?
No, absolutely not.
So was
it's
Tom
one
just a
ticket.
phantom person?
Yep, I was the Phantom for the
It-
third time in a
It's
row.
just the strangest thing, and they're arguing with me about it. And I'm like,
Yep.
you know, you can argue all day long, but I put companion ticket, I checked it, it said that it accepted it, and now you're saying that I never did it. What's
So are they
going
asking
on?
for money, or are they saying?
Yeah, well, no,
Yeah.
they charged me full fare, which
Yep.
I mean, the fare was
Oh, so you did buy 2.
Yeah, you did get 2 tickets then.
Yeah.
I didn't. I wasn't supposed to.
Right, but they're charging you on
But
your
they're
end.
charging me
Yeah,
for
okay.
two
tickets.
Yeah.
Because I was like, then how did Tom actually have
Yeah.
this seat?
Yeah. Like, how was he on the plane?
And it was an expensive ticket, but I thought, oh, for 2 people to go first class, that's about the same as coach or
Right.
you know
One
Delta
person
Plus
going
or
coach.
something. Yeah, it's the same.
Or 2
Or maybe another $100 to fly first
But
class.
worth
And I'm
it.
like, we're flying in
Yeah.
the middle of the night. It would be nice to have, and you know, we're flying during dinner hour. It would be nice to just be able to not worry about being starving and all that stuff. And yeah, and I saved his meal selections. They got mine. They didn't have his there and back. I double checked.
Yep.
It was checked. It was saved. And then they keep on saying, we don't know what you're talking about.
That's crazy.
So I don't know if Delta's just getting as bad as everybody else now, or if it's the shutdown and we
every app is
flew-
horrible now. Every single one. We go to
Yeah.
Home Depot. I hate their app so much. Their app is literally just their website, but shitty.
Yeah, it is
Dan
garbage.
says that. Dan
You're
says
right.
that about the Home Depot app too. He bought new, like the bigger vent covers that are on like your walls, not the ones on the floor. He's been buying new ones.
The returns?
'cause, like he's like, we just need to freshen these up. And he's like, I order like on the Home Depot app, trying to find the right size, and then you think you find it, and then they send you the wrong one. He's like, it's absolutely terrible.
And every app is like that for some reason. They're all just so bad.
Yeah, I do it off my laptop when I
Yep.
make big purchases. It's not worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, once again, she's abandoning us right in the middle of the show. She's
Abandoned.
bailing out.
Call out the whatever.
All out the holly.
Haul out the holly and very little Xmas on Netflix.
Yep.
The Haul Out series is on Hallmark, and I will give you guys my thoughts on She's Making a List, because Lacey Chabert is playing a Santa Claus auditor, deciding who is on the naughty and nice list.
Oh,
That's a new
sounds fun.
take. That's
Yes,
a like take.
sounds very cute. So
I like
cute.
it.
Kristyn, just for you, I will close with this. At Ethan's birthday party yesterday, there were tons and tons of little kids there, families, all the rest of it. Andy, that was one hell of a nice party. It
Yeah,
really
he had a
went well.
good
Kids
time.
were running around like crazy people.
had
He
a lot
woke up
of
with
fun.
this massive bruise on his shin from hitting it at some point
Oh,
yesterday.
dear. And he just didn't even acknowledge the fact that it happened.
Well,
Sign
he,
of a
it
good
happened and
party.
he cried for like 10 seconds, then he got over it. And then he
Oh.
wakes up and he's like, we're like, where did you get that? You'd think his shin would be broken.
Colin?
No, Ethan.
Oh, because Colin, I saw him get stepped on very hard. One
Colin
time.
falls over and gets trampled and,
He was
baby stuff.
trampled.
Colin.
he's a little one.
He is.
Oh, he's such a sweet
He has
kid.
Ethan as a brother. He is
Yeah.
very durable at this point.
Yeah.
They'll literally like roll around and Ethan will like throw him, and it's like, man,
I
this
know.
kid he's going to be tolerant to everything.
Well, I will use this here because we feel the same like when you have to leave every day. Alex's daughter and son came over, and just their body language, the look on their face, it was very, very sweet. That we had a really good time and hanging out and all the rest of
We
it.
did. It was very fun.
So it was really, they didn't want it to end. It was very, very nice.
That's nice. They
That's
were happy
nice.
to see you.
It was a great time. All right, we will talk to you tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes.
Thank you, my dear.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Kristyn Burtt Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. We shall take a break and be right back right after this. From Bradshaw and Bryant, Michael Bryant. What's up, Allie?
Oh, not much. Doing my usual thing of telling people they shouldn't be texting and driving. In Minnesota, you can't have your phone in your hands. You can use, hands-free, but you can't have your phone in your hands for whatever reason. And that's why they made the law the way they did, so that police officers could see a phone in your hand and you got no excuse for why you got it there.
Do people know that that's the law?
I hope so. I mean, they used to follow it, and then kind of COVID kind of made people forget. And now it's like a freewheeling world out there with cell phones.
Let's say you get pulled over because you do have a phone in your hand and you're not watching where you're going. You got to be in pretty big trouble then, I would guess.
Well, the first one's not as bad. It's the multiple ones, the problem. And once people start stacking them up, then they have a big problem. And then what we're doing in car accidents is we've started bringing motions for punitive damages, because I'm trying to use the civil law any way we can to stop this, because it needs to stop.
Whenever I'd had any problems in my life, who was that I called again? It was like an MB, something like that.
Bradshaw and Bryant.
Let's talk about my bank, North American Banking Company, and Bill Ski. Look, it's easy to feel like just another account number at the big national banks, but that's not how it works with my friends, and they are my friends at North American Banking Company. Whether you're visiting their locations in Roseville, 50th and France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, or Maple Grove, you'll always find real people you know by name and actually care about your finances, not some AI chatbot. They also offer all the modern conveniences you expect, like online and mobile banking, but with a personal touch that only a community bank can offer. So why settle for less when you can bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Visit nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Rocking out, man.
We are rocking out. It's called Rhapsody in Blue.
Rhapsody in Blue.
It's a very
was the-
rock name.
What was the original Rhapsody in Blue? That was a movie
Yeah,
or
Rhapsody
something.
in Blue is a
wasn't
different song.
It's a real song?
Yeah,
Oh, well, this is the AI version of that, I guess.
fake version.
it? The AI version.
We have our guest with us.
Oh,
Hello.
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 What's happening? Now, you look familiar.
Yes, good to see you again.
What, do you just wander around all the grocery stores? Is that what you do?
I know.
Actually, yeah, my dad told me the best way to find a partner in life is at the grocery store. You know, you walk in there, you see what they're eating, what are you eating, you're on the same page. He said that was his advice on how to meet people. So
I like that. Plus, if they cook, it's nice to have a partner that cooks, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so you and Catherine explain how we met.
So we were just walking in the grocery store, and something came up about Florida being cold, and it was like a brisk, 65 degrees. And I said, yeah, it's cold, but at least it's warm compared to Minnesota. Minnesota was freezing. And then you said, what part of Minnesota? And I said, Minnetonka, Lake Minnetonka. So we were
Right
just
over where
aligned.
we live. Yep.
Yeah, just neighbors, over 1,000 miles away from home and connecting. So
bump into each other at the grocery store.
Yeah.
So then we got talking.
Yeah, we got talking about mamamimi.com. I have a sign language YouTube channel for nonverbal autistic kids and other sorts
Wonderful.
of neurodivergent individuals to try to teach an alternative methods of communication, and also to work in the behavioral therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy techniques that I'm learning with my own son. Basically, I have a special needs son who I couldn't get to pay attention to me. And although I have a degree in sign language, I couldn't teach him sign language. I always thought, I'm going to have a baby. They're going to learn baby sign language. This is going to be great, and he's nearly 4 years old, and we don't even have a high five, And so I've been getting him early intervention for a really long time. But it was a combination of putting me in TV so he could watch me explain to him things, and we could kind of connect, because something about the screen, it's not overstimulating. Kids love iPads. Doesn't matter what you got going on. You love, watching stuff. So, and then with all this early intervention, now he's got 40 words and he's saying some sentences. And it's a lot less fighting, a lot less stress of him not being able to say what he wants and just screaming. My ears have finally had a break, and it's good to hear your voice.
Well, that's very nice. But
I have a question about that. So your son is 4, so obviously he's not old enough. I mean, he could go to ECFE or whatever. But have the school systems been any help to you?
Yes. So actually, in Florida, we got the Step Up Scholarship for students with unique abilities. And that's, he was in the Early Steps program, which gives you an IFSP. It's not an IEP. It's eligible for all kids, whether your kid is autistic or even just delayed. If your kid has any sort of delay, the Early Steps program in Florida and in other states, there's different type of early intervention programs that are free for families. And they kind of trained me on how to interact with him, how to try to set his schedules, what kind of help to get. And now that he's 3, I got him the Florida Step Up Scholarship for students with unique abilities, where they basically give about $10,500 to any parent who's homeschooling their kids from age 3 and up.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And you can do that without an IEP and without public school. However, they do a matrix score. And the matrix score, I think my son needs more help, just, out of pocket. His therapies are about $2,000, $2,200 a month. But you'll pay anything to make your kid talk and to communicate and be independent. So the goal with Mama Mimi is to make it more affordable. I don't think these therapists are going to lose their jobs. The problem is there's so many kids who are in need, and there's not enough staff. Not everybody can get the individualized help. So I'm going through the school system to get an IEP, because once I have that IEP, then they can hopefully increase his matrix score, because they provide up to around $36,000 a school year. And you can play with therapists, you can buy school supplies, things from the Lakeshore store and educational products. There's also softwares. I got my son an iPad, which I'm actually building an iPad app, an AAC device.
Oh, that's nice.
Because with his level of severity autism, that the speech apps that the therapist gave us and the one that was covered by insurance, well, he was so severe he couldn't even use it. And so now we've created an app that is really super easy to use, and it's in the beta mode right now. So there's a lot of good things rolling out. And I went to the School for the Deaf, Gallaudet University in Washington. So I went about 2 years where I didn't talk, and I had roommates who were deaf and blind, and we had to do tactile interpreting to communicate, kind of like Helen Keller, where you sign into their hands and you kind of feel the language.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The interesting thing about tactile interpreting and communication is it's a communication you feel. So I believe it's still processed like language in that part of the brain, but you're also using your muscles and your muscle memory. So sometimes when I'm thinking in sign language, my wrists and my arms will feel fatigued because in my head I'm moving when I'm not actually moving. So I started grabbing my son's hands and doing the shapes because he wouldn't look at me to learn sign language. So I would tactilely manipulate his hands, hand over hand, and I put myself in a YouTube video. And when I started out, everyone said, well, Mimi, who are you? Your kid can't even talk. Why are you going to go out there and be a neurodivergent leader and help all these people when you can't even communicate with your son? Well, guess what? I started this thing. It was about 2.5 years ago. I put my first video, but I really got, knee deep into it last May or April. And since June, my son went from just only a high five to over 40 words in sign language. He started babbling and at least vocalizing instead of being like radio silent. And he said his first sentence ever this week, which was, I want ice cream. And that's because we went to the grocery store and we bought a bunch of ice cream.
Wait, that's when we saw you. He was wanting a certain kind of ice cream.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
I mean, how did we start talking? It was at a great.
She said it was because you guys talked about the weather, and then she said at least.
Well, I mean, but we were just walking by each other in the aisle, and just kind of engaged. And it turns out I had no idea you lived in Minnesota. You had no idea I lived in Minnesota. It was a very nice talk. And then all of a sudden, everybody got involved, and you realize what a very special moment that was. It was wonderful.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's the wonderful thing about what I'm doing right now as a neurodivergent leader is helping people, because this is something that doesn't end for parents. Once you have a special needs kid, you kind of you're always dealing with how can I help them, right? And as a community, if we pool together resources and we connect and relate and empathize, I think it's going to benefit the good of all children. Mm-hmm. And we'll find out where they fit. What can they do? It's a very sad life for a kid to not have any words, be sitting isolated alone with a computer the whole day. Parents want to go out, and like my son likes to lay down in the crosswalk, and I'm like, dude,
he does,
crossing the street, please. And it's oppositional defiance. So anything you say, he just wants to do the opposite. And it's a neurological thing, it's an extreme type of stubbornness, but it's curable with therapy. It's not like autism. It comes with autism, but there's a cure, there's a process with behavioral therapy. And I had no clue what behavioral therapy was, even though I went to the School for the Deaf and I worked in Palm Beach County schools. I worked in Miami-Dade schools. I worked in Orange and Seminole County up in Orlando and interpreted in a lot of these special needs class. And I've never seen it, but this behavioral therapist found me with my son, laying down, having a mental breakdown that was worse than most toddlers. And she's like, hey, I think you need therapy, and I think you need to go get an autism diagnosis. And I was pretty sure he was autistic, but he's 2, when
you're right.
You start doing stuff. So the earlier you get intervention and help, the easier it is to change behaviors but it's still never too late. And that's the thing I love about the computer is you can learn by copying. And although autistic kids don't copy very much, maybe if they're exposed to a video of something, 100 times, they will start copying or at least understand the concept, hopefully.
We have a
Like,
listener who just put up on the chat, what's the name of the YouTube channel? My 13-year-old daughter is nonverbal and severely autistic. Would like to give this a try.
So the YouTube channel, that is so sweet.
It's very sweet.
It's youtube.com/@microschool, or if you search Mama Mimi's Micro School, it should come up. And so there's a lot of videos up there, and it's only going to grow. The content is going to grow as my son has more needs. I'm just going to plan on his whole education being on this YouTube channel and bringing experts and therapists and other parents who have stories to share. So on mamamimi.com, there's a Share Your Spark page where it's kind of like a community where people can share, like, hey, this is what I worked. This is a breakthrough. And the breakthrough with autism, it's kind of like cancer, where a lot of things kind of can cause it, make it worse, make it better. There's a lot of kids are being attacked by every angle these days, with the food, with the lifestyle, with all the chemicals in your soap and your shampoo and your cosmetics. So the goal with mamamimi.com is to take the thought out of healthy living for parents, because I've been into longevity for about 10 years now, and finding, healthy soaps, cleaning supplies, bamboo, linen, cotton, clothing, natural fibers that are breathable. I just want to make it easy for families to find what they need for their kids, because when you figure out your kid has autism, it's life-changing, not only for you as a parent, but for your kid. It requires a lot of extra work, and parents are strung out,
right.
It's really hard. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, we were talking about, Andy, the one in the yellow back there.
That'd be me.
Our son and our daughter.
He had behavioral issues in school.
No.
And, he was always highly intelligent, but his emotional regulation was always, and now he's got a son that's
Sounds familiar.
is pretty much the same way.
Yeah.
And Alex, who's sitting on the couch there, she's his sister. They're both our children. Mm-hmm. And she kind of had to deal with, it's kind of when there's siblings, and, you can't get anywhere without big meltdowns. And like you said, the oppositional defiance. It's like you can't ever just have an easy day. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Some days are better than others, but there's never just an easy, hop in the car, kids, and let's go. That just doesn't happen, because you have to worry about how long it takes them to transition and, just all this stuff. So it's not that it's such a huge learning curve for parents.
Yeah, it is. And it's hard because what I've realized with Mama Mimi is people who understand it jump on the bandwagon and they say, wow, this is great. We love it. But people who have never really been around an autistic person and they don't really understand it, I actually get some of like the meanest things that I've ever heard about, like, oh, you need to rein in your son, or like you can't, you're just a terrible parent, that's why your kid is acting like this, or whatever.
Wow, that's obnoxious.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, I know that's not a thing, but still sometimes at night you're just like bawling your eyes out crying, like, what am I doing wrong here as a parent? I'm trying so hard. My son, every time I say go to the car, he goes to the furthest point in the house. And if the back door is open, he is outside in the yard, and I'm like, why can't we just walk to the car?
Yeah.
But it's the transition, and so I try to use reverse psychology, but the thing is, these kids are genius, and so reverse psychology with oppositional defiance doesn't really work,
No, because I remember I remember going through I was reading books and books and books on how to get your oppositional defiant, toddler to be more cooperative. And it was like, bombard them with compliments. Tell them whenever they do something good that, make sure you bombard them.
Yeah, and they still tell you to do that, by the way.
I know, and I'd be like, oh, Andy, it was so nice that you didn't drop food all over the floor, that you just ate your food. It was just so great to see you eat like a big boy or whatever. And it'd be like, you would have to say these nice things to me because you're my mom. I'm like, what?
You didn't sell it very well from the sound of it.
I guess
it's
I didn't.
Mom's fault.
I guess I didn't sell it well
Yeah,
enough.
last night
fault.
Ethan he didn't want to go to bed because he's sick. He's got a cold. And when he has colds, he usually has nightmares. And he was afraid to go to sleep because he didn't want to have a nightmare.
Yeah.
And Melissa went in there and talked like, you know what? I know for a fact, when you go to sleep tonight, you're going to have good dreams.
Oh.
And Ethan goes, I think I won't.
You're wrong. Actually.
I think
Yeah,
I won't.
there's not a lot of fluff, and there's no
No.
BS. They're straight to the point, like blunt, and that's also how the deaf community is. So sign language and deaf culture is also very blunt, and so it's interesting.
I guess it's hard to assign nuance, right?
Yeah.
It's the kind of the way the culture is, it's not like a beat around the bush type of like fluffy woohoo culture. You can be fluffy and beat around the bush in sign language. There's plenty of long fancy, adjectives, but the deaf community is very straightforward, and that's the same thing with autism is they're smart. You can't just like lie and trick them or But one thing that you can do is like a choice board. So for example, with my son, I'm like, hey, do you want to go take a bath or take a shower? Either way, he's getting clean, but like he feels like he's got the power and he's in control. So one of the things that's built into this Mama Mimi sign in, say with me app is choice boards that you can generate in real time, to immediately give your kids an option. So there's not only the talk text to speech, where you push the buttons and it says the words, but you can help them make decisions and have, 2 buttons on the screen of, do you want an apple or an orange, a bath or a shower? And that kind of helps, like, oh, I got control. I can choose what I want. Like, good. So there's a lot of techniques out there for parents that, even if you follow every single one by the book, it's still, you're not going to have an easy day, but it does get easier. And so the goal with the YouTube channel and creating pooling together the neurodivergent community is finding, what works for these kids. Like your son, he's grown up. He has his own son. He's out, doing he figured out how to get
How to live
in the world.
How to have a life. Yep.
And I'm from a family of entrepreneurs. So everybody in my family owns their own business. And by 3rd grade, I couldn't read. I wasn't autistic. Now we know I'm dyslexic, but they didn't diagnose it back then. Oh. And they basically, I kept getting headaches. So the school recommended that they homeschool me. And it's very seldom that public school recommends to homeschool a kid, but they can't teach you how to read. Like, we don't know what to do. You're always in pain and a headache. So like, just go home. So my parents said, Mimi, you can do 3 things in life. You can go to school, you can go to work, or you can stay home and clean the house. Like, these are the options that you have, as a male, staying home and cleaning the house might not be as, possible. Yeah. So of course, as a 3rd grader, I picked I'll clean the house. It's the least amount of responsibility. But I did end up going into, my parents' offices and my uncle's offices and my brothers and cousins, workplaces. And a lot of times when kids don't fit the mold, they've got to figure out what works for them. Right. And autistic kids are extremely creative. And so harnessing that like interest-based learning and encouraging the kids to create in a space where they are, have that monomania of like obsession of like, I got to do this. I got to create this. Like maybe if we can help kids find kind of their purpose, the thing that drives them to push through all of the hard things and go out there, talk to people, be social. I'm hoping to teach business skills in the YouTube channel so kids can grow up with at least like practical life skills like banking, checking, investing, like things that most kids.
Cryptocurrency.
Okay.
There you go.
Relax.
There you have it.
Well, they're so smart. They'll probably be able to figure out how to do it in a minute. Alex, do you want to share a little bit about what's going on with one of your kids with the testing?
My daughter is 9 and she's in 4th grade, and she just finished her neuropsych eval because I think she's dyslexic and has dysgraphia.
When will you know?
We find out on Thursday morning. We have the meeting with the doctor about what's going on with her. But my money is on mild dyslexia and moderate dysgraphia because she can't spell. Like, she can look at a word and write it and then spell it wrong. Like, the word can be right above it and her brain just spells phonetically. She's like, no, that doesn't follow the rules of spelling that I learned in 1st grade. So it has to be this way. So
yeah, you have to teach kids how to spell, and then you have to unteach them and then reteach them advanced spelling at some point. It's very annoying.
You're finding that so she's in a private school, and you're finding that the public school isn't offering much assistance. Is that right?
Well, the public school, if she were in the public school system, we would be able to get more help. And if her thing is her stuff isn't super severe. Like, she gets good grades other than on spelling tests. And our school's really teeny tiny. So her teachers are always like last year, her teacher just came up to me at the end of the year. I also work at the school. I'm a teaching aide in preschool and 2nd grade. But her teacher came up to me in the hallway and she's like, I just deleted her spelling grade. She's like, I don't want her to get discouraged. Like, she's a great student. She doesn't need to have that on there because it was like a D+ or something like that. And she's like, I know she's trying, and
she would hate
whatever.
That.
And and she's firstborn girl, so she likes to have a lot of like outside encouragement and stuff like that. And so yeah, and we didn't really notice her spelling stuff until 2nd grade because kindergarten and 1st grade, everything's like phonetic.
Yeah, they spell badly in kindergarten. It's like, that's a kindergartner for you.
And then 2nd grade is when all of the laugh is a spelling word, and she's like LAF. Laugh. And they're like, no, actually not at all. And it was just like, no matter how many ways I tried to teach her to spell it, I was like, write it in the air with your finger. We'll do flashcards. We'll do songs. Like, she just could not remember how to spell these words. And I was like, clearly something's going on.
Yeah.
And so I tried to look through because they were like, you can get things through the public school, but she could get evaluated through the public school to have a learning difficulty.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help that much, especially in her school. Like, they are aware and they're like, we know she has a difficulty in spelling. Like, so I was like, I don't need to go through all that.
Well, there's a bunch of hoops that they make you, like, if you want extra, if you want a helper in the classroom, you have to get a diagnosis through official means, and then it's...
And we don't do paras at our school. Like, kids leave our school to go to public school if they need a lot of assistance because we're a tiny little school. That
and ours is like that too. It's like, we don't have a bunch of people who can just pay attention to one kid.
Yeah. Like, a lot of kids will leave our school between kindergarten and 1st grade because they're like, oh, we actually realize that you need more help than we can provide you with this little. So we have 2 women that help with reading and math problems. And it's very not super intense reading and math problems. But yeah, so we had to do the pay out of pocket, no insurance covered neuropsych eval.
And it was very expensive, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very expensive. But I don't know. I'm excited to see what the results are. And and it's hard. It's tough because it's like a neuropsych eval is really extensive. I mean, it's a 5-hour-long test.
Yeah.
And for some people, one of my son's best friends just had a neuropsych eval, and they found out that he's autistic, has ADHD, a tic disorder, dyslexia, and anxiety. And I'm like, that, yes, is worth all the money to be you know, he needed to be tested for all sorts of different things and will need a lot of support in a lot of ways. Whereas our daughter, I was like, we don't need all of this, but you know, this is what we have to do, I guess.
Well, I have a couple of points to make on that. So Mama Mimi website is actually actively trying to solve that problem, because once you do have an IEP and you do have a diagnosis, parents shouldn't be afraid to diagnose their kids. All it is a label for the purposes of treatment, right? Mm-hmm. And when you do have that diagnosis, like I got my son this scholarship, right? There's a lot, and you can shop around. There's a lot of public and private money out there for all types of learning disabilities and conditions. So I'm working on a state-by-state directory where parents can just go and find immediate money, because when you have a kid that's special needs, you know, people say, oh, that I'm sorry, nonprofits can offer you feel-good advice or whatever, but like you need money to get these programs funded. So even though that out-of-pocket neuropsych evaluation was expensive, throughout her lifetime of education, you can probably get her more help. Now, is a public school better than a private school? That's a question. So when you do have an IEP, the IDEA Act requires a free, appropriate public education, right? And so for your daughter, if she has, dyslexia and she needs extra help with that, then an extra tutor during the class, 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours a week would be considered a free and appropriate education. Therefore, the school must pay for that. So when you do have an IEP, if you're in public school, you can get the school to pay for occupational therapy, speech therapy. But will it be, 20 minutes of occupational therapy a quarter, or will it be, 2-3 hours a week? And as a parent, you kind of need to advocate, and it's a little bit of an uphill battle, kind of like pulling teeth with the school, because they have, limited resources or however they want to spend their money. And you have to be like, no, my kid, needs the least restrictive environment. My kid, the IEDA Act says that I'm entitled to a free, appropriate education. These accommodations are appropriate. These tutors are appropriate. This is what, you helped me with, and your public school, this is my tax money, go do it, right? And so the hard thing is it's a lot of work. So like in Minnesota, there's a great nonprofit called Pacer that will actually look over IEP and kind of like help you work through that. There's a lot of resources out there to help parents get these things set up. And although it's a lot of work with the evaluation, once you have it, you can shop that around and you can use the money and the accommodations to help your daughter. Now for dyslexia, at the bottom of my heart, I genuinely believe the cure has to do with sign language. And at Gallaudet, there was several interpreters who were also dyslexic, and they sort of gravitated towards the language. And the issue with dyslexia is like spatial orientation. So for example, like letter D, you might see letter D like this, where it looks like a letter B or a letter P. And so when you do sign language, at first for me, it was twice as hard to learn, because it was really like, oh my God, my brain was like breaking, trying to figure out where everything goes in 4D. But because sign language is a 4D language and written language is 2D, it does something with your brain. And I've recently put my son in occupational therapy, and one of the big things is going across the midline, like looking left to right, which my son wouldn't do. But when you scan a room or you kind of look around, you've got to be able to rotate your head. So we took things like balls or even candy or anything he really wants and just kind of practice looking left to right. Now, when I was younger, they made me do these eye exercises where you watch your finger and you touch your nose or whatever. But those were like painstaking for me. It gave me a headache. I didn't like it. It was boring and I wasn't interested. But sign language was actually interesting because my neighbor knew it and she was hard of hearing. And we would go ambush our parents, and we could use it like, oh, do you see mom coming? Okay, hold on. Wait, 1 more minute. Okay, hold on. Ready, we're gonna jump. Okay, ready, go, And so for me as a kid, it wasn't like, oh, I have to like force my eyes to exercise. It's like, oh, I'm learning this sign language. I can tell a secret. I can say this right in front of my mom to my friend, and my mom doesn't know what I'm saying. Like, this is so cool. And so it naturally, so I ended up going to college at 15 because I was homeschooled, but my mom couldn't teach me sign language and she couldn't teach me algebra 2. And she just went, the community college was like, this is beyond me. Please help. So I enrolled in those 2 classes. And then when I was 16, I decided I'm going to go get a degree in sign language. So I was enrolled in 16 credits at 16 years old, but I still couldn't read. And there was no like Chat GPT. I had to use Dragon dictation. I had like accommodations in school. But my mom would literally read my college textbook to me, and I would record her voice and play it back because I couldn't read my textbook. But I'm like, I want to study sign language, and like reading is something I have to do to just get through the class. So like, I'm going to do it. And I was highly motivated. That's the interest-based learning, with autism or with kids who have learning disabilities, is like, it's 10 times harder. So you have to really want it in order to try. Right. And so then all of a sudden, once I was 2 years into sign language and became like semi-fluent, I think it takes about 5 years to get fluent. But in 2 years after that, I was able to read. And so when I was 19 years old, I was taking 700 level PhD classes, auditing classes, because you can take a full course load and then you can audit like 2 classes a semester for free if you're already full time. So, and I was reading these complicated books on neuroscience and understanding it, and my headaches reduced. And now I would consider myself a very strong reader. And because my eyes and also my depth perception or whatever, I have 20/20 vision. I've tested my eyes 1,000 times because I'm like, what's wrong with my eyes? Why can't I read like this? But there's nothing wrong with my eyes. There's something wrong with my brain. And same with writing, like the word black. I know the word black is BLACK, but like 99% of the time I go to write it and it's BLCK, and I'm missing the letter A. And I'm like, this is like the signal from my brain to my hand. Like the printer signal has
it got a glitch.
Right. And I know how to spell it. So there's, the thing is, everybody's different, but how can you get accommodations and learn enough that you can do what you need to do in life? And that's the goal with the Mama Mimi vision, is to be like, how can we get people, you don't need to be like suffering because of whatever your diagnosis is. I mean, you can find ways to kind of make progress, right?
Sure.
Yeah, no question.
I love that.
That's the goal. And I hope that with that neuropsych eval, you can shop that around and get your daughter the accommodation. Maybe if it's not in school, it can be, after school. Maybe there's an online, a program for dyslexia. I've been looking into that, but I would take sign language if she could. Maybe you should put her onto the Mama Mimi website. But really practicing sign language with a class and with a teacher, like look at the letter C. The letter C, like this, like that. Like it looks totally different from,
Sure.
And so when I do my YouTube channel, some people would say I move too much. Like when I was at Gallaudet, they're like, I was interpreting, like you see that interpreter on the news, like in the little box, and they're like constrained, right? But I'm always moving and shifting, and I like to rotate to the side in my videos, which you usually don't see people doing. But me being like a dyslexic person, like that's what helped me learn, because things look very different. So it's the only 4D language that we have out there. And I think that it should just be taught to all children at a young age, because before your vocal box is developed, you can do sign language like milk,
She knew probably like 20 sign words before she started talking.
Yeah, Ethan was like that too.
Yeah, she knew a bunch of words, and like she learned them really, really quickly. And she's always been very good. Like her fine motor has always been really incredible for her age. Like she taught herself how to tie her shoes when she was like 4.
Wow.
Put her hair in a ponytail at 3, like, and nobody ever taught her. She just saw somebody do it and was like, "Oh, okay."
Yep. I have her
And-
untangle all my necklaces.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so I could actually see her really enjoying sign language, and that's really interesting that you say that because, yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, being bilingual is
A great
it
thing.
makes your brain work in a different way,
Sure
but
does.
then sign language is even a step beyond that because if she couldn't think, how do I spell that with just print, she could think with her hands, and that's like another way for her to be able to process and do it.
Yeah. So it's muscle memory, right?
Yeah.
So here's the hard thing is at Gallaudet, have you ever tried to like talk to yourself during a test? Like, oh, okay, what was it? That was like that.
Mhm.
Well, in sign language, if you try to talk to yourself, that's cheating because
Yeah.
people can look at your
Oh,
hands,
yeah.
like know what you're saying. So I remember sitting there and being like, don't move your fingers. But I'm like, what's that word? And you feel the movement in your hands. Like, so like I said, it's a crazy way to have like muscle memory. So when you think of a word, you kind of feel like the phantom movement of your arms moving.
Yeah.
Even though you're just thinking. So sometimes thinking can be physically exhausting. Just if I'm thinking, when you really get fluent in a language, you can actually think in that language. Not only just like, but when you first learn, you're like, more. Okay, more means more in English. Okay, like you translate it back to English,
Yep.
And once you start thinking in sign language, it's exhausting. I used to watch my roommate's dreams actually, because like when people talk in their sleep, but she would sign in her sleep, So,
funny.
like,
Funny.
yeah, there's actually I'll tell you about my first day of school at a deaf university. So I got sick during orientation, so I missed everything, and I moved in like 6 p.m. the day before school starts, right? So I come with my whole family, set up the dorm, whatever. I just meet this girl. We're sleeping in the same room. It's one room with no divider or anything. And she's like going to bed. And my parents didn't really let me have like sleepovers. So I was always used to being home. So first off, when you wake up somewhere that's not your house, it's a little different, right? Second, at the time, thanks to vitamins and supplements, I got off of Ambien, but I was taking Ambien and heavy sleeping pills from like 12 years old because I was so achy and such a spaz. So the reason I really got into longevity is because I was on so much sleeping pills, stimulants, just like medication to just try to get through the day with all of my ADD and OCD and dyslexia and this and that. And sure, you can help your brain, but there's long-term brain damage, your liver, your kidneys.
Yep.
Like these are not sustainable ways of life. But
No.
anyways, at the time I was on like sleeping pills, and we set our alarm at like 5:30 in the morning because it's the first day of school and we're 18-year-old girls like gonna get ready for school, right? So her thing is, deaf people have an alarm clock that vibrates, and I read about it in a book, right? Like it's they put it on their bed and it shakes their bed, and that's how they wake up. I had no clue how strong this vibration is. Like it's so strong. So it's 5:30 in the morning. And my roommate forgot to put it on her bed. So she put it on her desk right next to glass.
Oh, that's going to be loud.
Like she had all these breakable glass pictures. So all of a sudden I hear this really loud like and glass breaking everywhere.
Good morning.
I took my sleeping pill late, so I'm already like half loopy, and I'm like, where are we? I'm not home, and I'm like, oh my god, like it's an earthquake, right? So I like freak out. Meanwhile, my deaf roommate is like sleeping like a adorable, like she doesn't even flinch because she can't hear anything. So I jump up and I'm like, oh my god, it's an earthquake, and then I look at the thing, it glows red and orange, and it had fallen behind the desk, and I just read the dorm safety about unplugging your computer so it doesn't start a fire, right? I see all this broken glass, and I'm like, oh my god, now there's a red light, it's a fire, this is the fire alarm, we gotta get off the building. So I'm like, my heart rate is at like 200, I'm about to go grab the girl that I just met last night and be like, get up, it's a fire. I'm like 2 inches away from her face. And I'm like, wait a minute. And then I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's her alarm clock, man. Like, oh, like I you know. And so then I gently tapped her on the shoulder and I was like, hey, your alarm. And she opened one eye, like barely, and she flew across the room and boom, turned it off, because it sounds like that's something she's done before, or like forgot to put it on her bed, you know, like it's not. So it was really interesting to go to school amongst deaf people and just be totally immersed, you know, in that world.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people with a lot of coming from all walks of life, all different countries. And that's when I really learned, like, life is about, you know, living and thriving and finding happiness in, you know, whatever your kind of daily motions are, right?
Sure.
And the main goal with an IEP, if a kid is graduating an IEP through the public school system, is, you know, independence as an adult, right? And as a parent, you know, you want to try your best to help your kid be independent, but even if they're not, you want them to relate, you want them to connect, you want them to be happy, you know.
Right.
So
there it is.
Exactly.
One quick question before we have to go. It's actually from my wife. She wants to know if you have ever reached out to Communication Junction, because that's the company that we use. We do, like, they teach sign language to, like, very young children starting at like 1 year old.
I haven't heard of them, but I'm going to note it down, because the goal of Mama Mimi is to connect everybody in one place. And I want to make it easy for parents to find resources like Communication Junction to immediately get help. Why wait? You know,
That's such a great idea.
Yeah, we've been using them for like 3 years. So yeah, we're all about them.
Mimi, you got to come back once in a while. This has been great. I think a lot of people learned a lot of things, because most people probably don't, you know, have the same kind of life or whatever. Assume, well, it's not that. There's a lot going on here that I didn't know about, and our listeners didn't know about, and I really appreciate your time today.
Absolutely.
And you need to come back soon.
okay, well, just let me know. And if any listeners have any questions, they can reach out to you. They can reach out on mamamimi.com. We're in this together to try to make a wave of change. So thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much. We'll
Thanks
talk
for
to you
coming
soon.
on.
Take care. Bye-bye.
We'll take a break. Be right back right after this. Why should your business bank with North American Banking Company? Here's Pete Wolf, owner of Robinson Rubber of Robbinsdale.
I partnered with North American Banking Company because I was able to talk to the president, and I know they have my back. They are much easier to talk to than those larger banks. The openness and flexibility has been the best part of banking with North American Banking Company. They understand small to medium businesses. No matter what part of the bank I am working with, North American Banking Company has the latest technology and friendly staff. I would absolutely recommend North American Banking Company to any of my closest colleagues if they want to have peace of mind in their business.
So why not bank where I bank, with my friends at North American Banking Company? To learn more about North American Banking Company, go to nabankco.com. That's nabankco.com, or do what I do and stop by any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Family owned since 1933 in historic Northeast Minneapolis, serving steaks, prime ribs, chops, fresh fish, and seafood to generations of Minnesota. What are you talking about? You're talking about Jack's, of course. The holiday season is just around the corner, and there is no better time to celebrate at Jack's. Private company parties, traditional family dinners, old friends, even a date night after shopping. Jack's is extra special. Just before Thanksgiving, all the holiday lights and decorations will be in place, ready for your dining experience. Don't forget the special events coming up. That would be, ladies and gentlemen, Thanksgiving dinner, of course, breakfast with Santa on December 6th, 13th, and 20th, the holiday buffet brunch, that's on December 21st, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day celebrations too. Visit jackscafe.com for all the latest updates and for making reservations. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. That was one hell of a show. You know what I wanted to bring up to her, but things we did extend it out there, and I love that, by the way. She's very, very into helping people.
Yeah, people like that.
Oh, I
Yeah.
just love the fact because there's so many people with all of these different programs for kids that have this and that, the other thing. And like she said, what works, you know, and,
Yep.
and navigating the whole school system and the mental
Yeah.
health and therapies. It's hard to find, like we went through a lot of psychologists and I found none of them helpful. Zero
Oh, yeah.
for Andy. He would
Yeah,
not
we're currently
respond.
in the whole like, we could probably get Ethan some sort of diagnosis, but then he's like the kid with the label everywhere he goes, and do we want
Oh,
that? Is it
yeah.
Well,
worth
only
Well,
in the
it?
and
school
you
district,
can't
though.
you can't do a neuropsych eval until they're 6.
Not a
That's
proper
like the
one, I would
youngest that
guess.
you can do it.
Yeah.
For like if you wanted a full
Yeah, full
workup
on,
of
yeah.
everything, which, I think would be valuable. But
Yeah.
at his age, yeah, you can have kids diagnosed with autism very early,
very young.
but it has to be pretty blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
Right. I don't
For
think he would
certain-
be able to qualify, really.
Yeah, but
Well, that's the thing. Is like we've had him like evaluated. I don't informally through the school something. We've had a few of them, and pretty much every time they come back and they're like, he does pretty much everything we tell him to do, and he does it, very well. But he just gets bored, and when he gets bored, he can't control his impulses.
But here's the thing with school, like through the school system, everybody that I know that has had anything through the school system, the bar is so low.
Well, yeah, because they
Like-
don't want everyone to be
Yes.
constantly asking for more resources, because
Yeah,
then they
like,
wouldn't be able to do anything.
I've had multiple friends have their kids evaluated for speech through the school system because
Mhm.
they're like, we think our kid needs speech, but we don't want to pay for it. And the only way that you can not pay for it is if you do it through the school system, and then they qualify through the school system, then the school system has to pay for it. But the bar is so low at testing through the school system that you have to have like a very significant speech problem to qualify for speech. Like you have to be barely understood
Oh.
to get services through the school system. Like my nephew, they're like, he needs speech. We know he needs speech, but we can't afford tons of speech assistance out of pocket because insurance doesn't cover it and all this stuff. And they're like, he didn't qualify through the school system, so we can't do anything about it.
Yep, that's how it goes.
That's awful.
There
Yeah.
you have it. When we take that last break, I'm sorry we're breaking so close together, but
Well, we went for a stretch.
we went for
We
about
sure
a
did.
We
45
went for a
minute
long
stretch.
Marathon.
And I want to close with my take on that whole thing. And you guys did a great job with all that. But we'll be right back and wrap things up right after this. Michael Bryant. Michael, what's up?
Dealing with another case where a person gave a statement to the adjuster because they thought the person was really friendly.
Is that a good idea?
Well, the problem is they know the law when they call you up. And while you're trying to be fair and you're trying to get help, the reality is there are questions you get asked that the way you answer them make a big difference. And people put themselves in trouble. And when they aren't in trouble, they didn't do anything wrong, but suddenly the adjuster's got a statement that can blow up their case completely.
What has caused people to be so untrustworthy, I guess is the best way I could put it? They take advantage.
Well, insurance companies have hired adjusters whose job it is to deal with unrepresented people. So they're supposed to kind of lure them in, call them every day, see how they're doing. And people are like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. Where the reality is they've kind of adjusted to their problem that they've got going on. So it's not that they're completely better, but the way they say it gets to be a problem. And that's why having somebody who can explain your rights, represent you, make sure that you understand the law before you give a statement can make a big difference in your case.
Michael Bryant, Bradshaw and Bryant. South Dakota, one of the most business-friendly states in the country, and there's no better place to settle down and take advantage of those incentives than in Sioux Falls. As the state's largest city with a metro population over 290,000 people, Sioux Falls has low business costs with a high quality of life. There's no state corporate or personal income tax, no inheritance tax, and no limits to what your business can achieve. South Dakota ranks among the top 10 states in the U.S. for tax friendliness, hardest working healthcare and doctors, most popular to move to, inbound state movers, and of course the spotlight's on Sioux Falls, listed in the 50 best places to live for families. The fastest growing Midwest metro, one of the best places to raise a family, one of the best small cities for Gen Z workers, national fourth top inbound city people move to. How does South Dakota stack up against other states? Well, we rank second in the nation for the lowest cost of doing business, the most business-friendly state, and the best business tax climate. And as South Dakota's biggest city, Sioux Falls is at the center of these benefits. Visit www.siouxfallsdevelopment.com.
The salespeople at the Valley dealerships watch the traffic whizzing by. Probably to the Mall of America or a Super Target. It's the holidays. People aren't thinking about buying cars. Being sales professionals who enjoy the human interchange as much as the sale, they're edgy. They've only each other and they're tired of hearing the same jokes and stories repeated. Now, Valley has never used the word sale in its advertising. Their salespeople set their own prices. Come to a Valley store now and you have a sale, born of sheer loneliness. Want to talk about new GMCs, the Vikings quarterback situation, maybe the new Taylor Swift album? They don't care. They're salespeople, they're extroverts, they're desperately bored, and you're a new face. Just one request from Brett Paul of the Valley stores.
I'm begging. If you're working with one of my staff during the holidays, please don't ask to see any pictures of their kids. Just play fair.
Create your own holiday sale on a new Buick or GMC at a Valley store in Apple Valley or Hastings today.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. I do want to point something out, which is one of the things I love about life, and I'm very, very serious about this, that a few weeks ago, your mother and I are walking around Sprouts, which is a great grocery store.
Yeah, it's a lot like Fresh Time.
A lot like Fresh Time, yeah.
You guys have Fresh Time in Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's a lot like that.
For some reason, I began talking to Mimi. We had never met before, never seen her, but we started talking about something. And I think her son was very excited about something or whatever. But we started talking. And the great thing about that is we started talking to Mimi. And then we talked to Mimi about coming on the show. And Mimi comes on the show. And look at all the good things that people heard. Andy, you brought up a number of things. Alex, you brought up a ton of things. Who knew just by running into this woman accidentally a few weeks ago, people now have somewhere to turn if they have children with special needs or whatever the situation is. I just love the fact that we happened to run into this woman. Mom and I got to know, I mean, we don't know her any better than you guys. We met her that one time. But she came through with this magnificent message, and Alex and Andy and Catherine added to that. I think a lot of people learned a lot of things that are really going to help them, and it may not be so overwhelming to help a child with special needs. I just love when those magic moments happen. I just happened to meet her. Catherine and I met her. She wanted to be on the show. She comes on the show, and look how many people she probably helped today.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were quite a few comments about my niece has it, my daughter has it, people that have, I mean, it does seem, that's one thing I wanted to kind of get into, but we didn't have time because there's so much to talk about with all of this, is the explosion in diagnoses
it's insane.
of autistic kids and versions of it. It's just, because I mean, we had a good friend who had a pretty profoundly autistic kid, and I know he ended up going to the University of Minnesota. Does have a really good program, I guess, for autistic children. And his thing was he could take apart a washing machine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
fix
the whole
anything on a
autistic
washing
savant
machine.
thing. Yep.
You know, he had that. You know, and he was very he had a lot of help, and you know he could actually say, "Hi, how are you? I'm glad to meet you." And you could tell he was trained to take a quick glance in your eye because it was painful. It's very painful for some people to make eye contact. And it was just, I mean, I remember that was the first time I had ever been around somebody that was that autistic. But now I feel like I see them all over the place. People that are autistic.
Really?
Yeah, in the grocery store. My veterinarian, where I take Jude in Minnesota, one of the vets, I'm pretty sure, would be considered autistic. She doesn't make eye contact. She's got that look at the ground, but she knows everything. She's smart as can be.
Well, and autism is like such a massive spectrum. Like we have an autistic kindergartner at our school, and he's one of the friendliest kids in that class.
Right. And some
he comes out and he loves talking to people and telling everybody about his day, and like because people think like, oh, autistic people don't like to talk to you or don't like making eye contact or don't this or don't like he doesn't meet any of those like social things, but then his autism affects him in different ways. So it's like people just think autism is you're either like a nonverbal savant or you're like, I don't know. And it's like, it's such a massive spectrum. And the understanding of autism in the last 10 years is
That's true.
huge. So that's why there are so many more people diagnosed with it, because a
Yeah.
lot of people with anxiety or had been diagnosed with anxiety or ADHD are now finding out that they're actually autistic.
Right.
So
But
Donnell
Donnell
and-
makes a really good
Yes.
point. Do you think Tylenol plays a role in autism? And remember when RFK Jr. brought that up and everybody went insane?
Yes,
they
they did.
freaked out.
And then it says right on Tylenol, not to be used during pregnancy.
Right.
Yeah, Tylenol themselves say they don't recommend taking it when pregnant unless
Yeah.
absolutely necessary.
Yeah, and I know people that take Tylenol like it's a, food.
That's the thing. Some people
just
take it
pop it
every day. It's
constantly.
like, oh, my knee hurts a little bit. Time for some Tylenol. Oh, I
Right.
got a little bit of a headache. Time for some Tylenol. And it's
Right.
like, it's not good for you.
Or
Well, and some
Advil or
people,
any
every
of it.
single time their kid has a minor fever, they give them Tylenol. Or like, oh, your ear hurts a little bit, or oh, you're getting a molar. Here's a bunch of Tylenol.
Yep.
Like, and I'm not saying the Tylenol causes. I have absolutely no idea. But like, some
Better be
people
safe
just,
than sorry.
yeah, some people just pump everybody full of Tylenol constantly. I'm like, what is going on?
Well, RFK said that there isn't sufficient evidence to say that Tylenol is causative in autism.
Right.
He still says that only take it if you need to and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
that
I mean,
the link
but-
is still possibly a link, but there's not enough evidence to say for sure, yes, it does.
I
But,
know, but
yeah,
like
I
you said-
agree. Don't give your kids stuff unless they really need it.
Well, I get the question was whether or not it was causing all these autistic kids because he wants to get to the bottom of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he said that is it because people are using Tylenol while they're pregnant?
It
That
could
was the
be.
big, and everybody went nuts saying, "Oh, what a conspiracy theorist! I took Tylenol every minute of my life, and my kids are just fine."
Yep.
And blah, blah, blah. People
Well,
went
it's like
nuts.
smokers who say, I've been smoking for 50 years and I
Yeah.
don't have lung cancer.
Yeah,
It's like,
and I'm
well,
really
that's-
happy for you that your kid doesn't have autism and you use Tylenol all the time. But maybe this kid, it is why. You know, it's like you don't know. So shut up.
MB actually brings up an interesting thing that I actually bring up when people talk about this a lot because it's related. She said, wasn't it aspirin that causes Raynaud's syndrome? No,
Yeah.
aspirin
I think it
causes Reye's syndrome in
Reye's
children.
syndrome,
And
Oh,
Reye's
that's right.
syndrome is very, very bad. It's, I think, even treated, it's something like 50% of kids die with it, and the remainder end up with like severe brain damage. Reye's is a super duper horrible thing.
Jeez.
And we didn't realize that aspirin was causing it in children until I think the 70s, maybe
Yeah,
the
so-
80s. So kids were taking aspirin and getting Reye's syndrome and dying for decades before we finally found the causative link. And it's funny because people are always like, oh, well, we've been taking Tylenol forever, and that doesn't make it safe.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
I mean,
like,
people were
we've had
smoking
lead in
cig-
our paint
Yeah,
for
exactly.
years.
People were putting lead on, powdering their faces with lead for
Yeah.
like 500 years.
Yeah.
Just because we've done it for a long time doesn't make
Yeah.
it safe.
I know. Seriously.
Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
Well, obviously we can continue on with these conversations anytime because I find it all fascinating.
I do too.
And how
We can
many
end
people
with-
are so resistant to the fact that maybe there's something else we could do.
Yeah, I know.
maybe.
We can end with an Ethanism from this morning.
Okay.
So he got one of those. It's like a thing where you put like a Nerf dart on it, and then you stomp on a little box, and it makes the Nerf dart like shoot out.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah, yeah.
On a
Stomp rocket?
rocket. Yep.
Yeah.
See,
We
yeah.
have a stomp rocket.
Oh yeah, he loves the stomp rocket.
Absolutely.
And he and Melissa were doing that while I was doing the dishes this morning. And he put it on too tight, and he was like stomping on it, and it wasn't going. And he goes, "Why isn't it shooting, Melissa?" And she's like, "Did you just call me Melissa?"
He calls his own mother Melissa.
He doesn't usually do that. So
Hilarious.
Well,
It's
that's
very
because he was
interesting.
at a party and people were probably saying Melissa,
Yeah.
Melissa,
Yeah.
Melissa. He probably doesn't
Probably.
hear her name that much. Really.
I don't think I ever remember calling you by your name when I was a kid.
No, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
like, Catherine, come here.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Every once in a while, because I say, okay, Dan, like when he's just being ridiculous in like
Yeah.
a funny way, I go, okay, Dan. And so like every once in a while, one of my kids will be like, okay, Dan.
mhm.
Oh God.
All right. Well, Jude's going to be delivered. I thought that they dog napped him because I
Yep.
couldn't get a hold of anybody this morning. Our
Uh-oh.
Oh,
dog
jeez.
sitter.
Stolen Jude.
I'm like, I
They
think
like
they
him.
just took him. They love him. I think
Yeah.
they took him. But
Just
he's
like
being
he's ours.
delivered any minute now.
Oh my
So
gosh.
there
I
will
have
be
to go
much
take a
barking.
shower.
Yeah.
All right, I will close with this. I am still amazed by having her on and how far that got us. She was a terrific guest.
Yep.
And look how many people she probably helped just by being on this show. I love that.
Yep.
Fabulous.
All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Reminds me of this one was before. Every time I hear the same, reminds me how you talking